For the first time in 54 years, NASCAR's return to Bowman Gray Stadium ends in a popular one. What's up everyone, my name is Jet. Welcome back to the episode of MDK Racing's Victory Stop, the first one of 2025. My name is Jet. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Recapping the 2025 Cookout Clash at Bowman Gray Stadium, a historical night. So we saw some great racing, interesting tire management. We have to talk about some aero and a very popular win to cap it off. Now, the heat races and the LCQ. The heat races were absolutely entertaining, and the LCQ, the aggression was on a high. I mean, so many carnage, so many drivers. I mean, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. doing typical Ricky Stenhouse Jr. things, wrecking Burt Myers. Obviously, with Bowman Gray Stadium, we saw tonight Bowman Gray fans showed to the people that aren't familiar with this track or with this culture how passionate they are. I think 17,000 people all collectively gave Stenhouse the middle finger, telling him to go off. I'm trying to be respectful here because YouTube, I don't know. But they all gave him the middle finger. That was such an awesome, cool moment to see. But also just constant carnage in that last chance qualifier. Ty Dillon's car was just banging into cars left, right, and center. Same thing with Eric Jones. He was getting into drivers left, right, and center. His car looked like it was ready for the junkyard. It actually took me back to those earlier Martinsville races in the later years of the Gen 6 car, where cars at the end of the race just looked like absolute trash. And that's what Eric Jones's car looked like. So that was kind of a cool thing to see. But it was very entertaining racing. Kyle Larson, who started in 10th, I thought would be nowhere near. I think he will not have a shot at competing for the main event. Somehow was able to survive all the carnage, even getting caught up in his own mess as well, getting caught up in other people's messes. Somehow with the banged up race car was able to win the last chance qualifier. Josh Berry for the Wood Brothers, even though he was involved in a mess, he was involved in a mess with Ty Gibbs when Ty Gibbs spun there. He was also having his own issues, was able to move up to second place. Him and Eric Jones also had a great battle. And Ryan Blaney, we're going to talk about Ryan Blaney later on, but Ryan Blaney, because he finished second in points and Joe Logano made the main event already based on his heat race, Blaney was going to be in regardless. Now, Blaney's car had issues. They had to repair the car earlier in the race for some type of hole, I believe that was in the engine compartment of the car. They elected to retire early in the LCQ and actually fix the car, because they already knew he was going to be part of the main event. The main event itself was actually very tame. One thing though that remained the same is the bad luck and Kyle Busch. Once again, I don't know what did Kyle Busch do to piss off the racing gods, but once again, he was getting beaten and battered around in his heat race and with Justin Haley. And it didn't change when we got it to the main event. I think on lap 16, I want to say very early on, he got hit by Noah Gragson, spun. He went immediately behind the racetrack in order to make repairs, was able to get back on lead lap, but that effectively killed his race. It was also not a good night for Hendrick Motorsports, for two of them at least. Alex Bowman was involved. He spun in the race. Kyle Larson spun in the race. William Byron spun twice in the race, one of them with his teammate Kyle Larson. The only one that did not have any issues was, of course, Chase Elliott. He had the perfect weekend, led all but 28 laps, fastest in the first practice, fastest in the second, fastest in qualifying, won his heat race, started on pole, had the fastest lap, led the most laps out of any Clash winner in history, just had a flawless win. Flawless victory. He did have a bit of a challenge from Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin took the lead from him in the closing laps of halfway to the mid-race break. Denny Hamlin would lead 28 laps. In fact, Hamlin and Chase were the only two leaders at all. There was a total of 4 lead changes. Hamlin and Chase were the only two drivers to actually lead laps. But the driver that finished second, Ryan Blaney. Ryan Blaney, I mentioned, he took the provisional. He and his team spent a lot of time working on that race car, but still, I don't think anyone imagined him to start from 23rd spot and drive his way up to second place. A phenomenal drive by the 12 car. Here's a look at the remaining drivers. Third is Denny Hamlin, Joe Logano, and Bubba Wallace, the top 5. Ross Chastain, Austin Cindric, Tyler Reddick, Shane Van Gisbergen in his very first quarter-mile race in 9th place, and Chris Buescher rounds up the top 10. Teammate Ryan Preece in 11th, Christopher Bell in 12th, Josh Berry, Todd Gillen, Kyle Busch, Carson Hocevar, Kyle Larson, William Byron, and Alex Bowman, with Noah Gragson, Brad Keselowski, Daniel Suarez, and Chase Briscoe. Chase Briscoe had steering issues when he was involved in a couple of accidents, and he took it behind the wall and was done for the night. Overall, It was an exciting weekend. I love the heat races, love the LCQ. The race itself was a little bit underwhelming, but it was still, I thought, had some really good moments, and I was very entertained. Honestly, if we can't go back to Daytona, I would not mind Bowman Gray. Honestly, I would not mind Bowman Gray. Now, there are still some issues, though, that need to be discussed. We heard Harvick on the broadcast mention aero, and at a track this small, like Bowman Gray, the fact that aero was still an issue was really annoying. This track in this race was much better than any of the races in LA, and I think that's just because Bowman Gray is, number one, it's much wider than LA Coliseum because, you know, Bowman Gray, they don't have an inside wall like what LA does. And also in LA, it's a continuous curve. You're constantly turning the wheel. Even on the straightaways, it's a curved straightaway, whereas Bowman Gray, it is your typical short track. Tight corners, straights, straightaway speed. So it was your typical short track, and I felt like it delivered, although there are some improvements I would like to see. Huge shout out to the crowd. The crowd brought it, the energy. You could see it just from, if you saw on social media, the clips that people were posting. The crowd at Bowman Gray brought the heat into a sold out 17,000. They made this event a lot bigger than what it is. So huge shout out to the fans there. One thing though that I do gotta say, and this is gonna be a constant theme, Fox. I gotta say this. Mike Joy, he brought it once again. I love Mike Joy, and he was very good, very energetic. When he needed to show that iconic voice of his, he brought it. So I feel like he did a great job. Kevin Harvick, he held his own ground. Clint Boyer, I don't know what is if Fox told him to bring it down a notch or not or what, but he has been so monotone. Even when there are situations where you feel like you should hear Clint Boyer just be like excited or say something, he sounds very like it just sounds like, oh yeah, wow, he got turned, kind of like what we heard in the 2023 Daytona 500, that finish, if you remember that, just very monotone. And Fox, it's a quarter-mile track, enough with the, you know how annoying this is, right? And imagine if I start doing this, right? For the entirety of the video, I just zoom in my camera like this, right? You're at a quarter-mile track. The camera does not need to be zoomed in this much. Like, there we go. Let's just zoom out just a little bit there. Yeah, there we go. That's good. Why are you zoomed in so much? It's a quarter-mile track. It doesn't need to be so zoomed in. I don't care about seeing what a corner panel of a car looks like. Every shot should be at least 3 cars when you're at a track this small. The camera work was atrocious. The production quality was atrocious. Again, somehow at a quarter-mile track, you would have the commentators of Mike Joy, Kevin Harvick would say something about, oh, something happened, while the cameras didn't really get anything. Like, for example, in the LCQ with Burt Myers, Mike Joy and Kevin Harvick, they were talking about it, and maybe 2 or 3 seconds later, they finally cut the cameras to Burt Myers' wrecked number 50 race machine. It was just not good. The commentators, Harvick and Mike Joy specifically, they brought it. I thought they did really, really well. Outside of that, again, very disappointing, but it is typical Fox. So, but the good news for us is that we don't have to deal with them a lot longer compared to last year. We only have to deal with them until early May. So at least that's something we can be grateful for with this new TV package. But overall, I really enjoyed this weekend. I would love to see NASCAR return back to Bowman Gray in 2026. I have heard rumors from Adam Stern about NASCAR maybe looking at moving the Clash to Brazil. That will be saved for another video topic. I'll have some thoughts on that, but overall, I just feel like that with the Clash, if you're not going to have it in Daytona, have it at Bowman Gray. Or maybe start this new tradition where you take the Clash to different short tracks across America. They invested a lot into Bowman Gray Stadium, made Bowman Gray Stadium, I feel like, a lot better than before with the enhancements that they made to that racetrack. That could be a new tradition that I would love to see NASCAR maybe take a look at, is going across America and going to different short tracks and having the Clash. You know, you go to Bowman Gray Stadium, maybe go to, I don't know, Pensacola, you go to Toledo. I'm just naming different short tracks, but that would be a cool tradition to see that NASCAR could maybe take a look at, is to kind of go and shine a spotlight on different short tracks across America and have the Cup guys bring the Clash to NASCAR's local short tracks. But overall, those are my thoughts on the Cookout Clash. On a scale of 1 to 10, I would give this a 7. It wasn't amazing, the main event race. It was a little bit underwhelming. I feel like it had some great moments, some great strategy. I'm very happy it didn't turn out to a shit show like what we have seen in LA a few times. So I'm very happy about that. but it was a little bit annoying having to hear arrow again in a race broadcast when you talk about a track as short as Bowman Gray. So I do feel like there still, once again, needs to be some improvements. But overall, the race weekend as a whole was very fun to watch. The heats and the LCQ brought it. So very entertained, and I can't wait. Hopefully, they will return back to Bowman Gray next year. But until next time, my name is Jett from MDK. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you again Wednesday and Thursday around that time, either for the qualifying results of the Daytona 500 or the Clash. So make sure y'all tune in for that. NASCAR is back. Thank y'all so much for watching. Until next time, my name is Jett from MDK. See you then.